The wedding was halfway through when my wife's male best friend splashed a glass of red wine all over me. Rage flared in my chest like a match struck in a dark room. I was about to flip the table when my new bride clamped her hand down on my arm. "Don't make a scene. People are watching." I looked at her, and my heart turned to ice. I let out a cold laugh, shook off her grip, and snatched the microphone from the MC. As the mic hit my palm, it let out a sharp whine of feedback, cutting through the fake joy of the reception like a scalpel. Jessica lunged at me, panic plastering her impeccably made-up face. She tried to grab the mic. "Liam, are you crazy? Give that to me." I sidestepped her with a cold indifference she had never seen before and shoved her away. She stumbled back, staring at me in disbelief, as if I were a stranger crashing her wedding. The murmur of the guests amplified instantly, buzzing like a swarm of flies. Curiosity, shock, and gloating eyes wove a giant net, trapping me in the center. My parents shot up from the head table, faces pale, looking lost. But Jessica's parents, my in-laws, reacted instantly, storming the stage. Her mother grabbed my arm, her voice a hushed, sharp hiss. "Liam, what the hell are you doing? Grow up. Can't this wait until after the reception?" Her father put on his best patriarch face and barked, "Stop this nonsense. Apologize to the guests, and let's finish the ceremony." I ignored their tugging and scolding. I just raised the microphone. The feedback cut out, replaced by my voice, calm and crystal clear, booming through the banquet hall speakers. "Hello, everyone. I'm today's groom, Liam Carter." My voice was steady, surprisingly so. "I'm sorry, but we've had a little hiccup." I paused, my gaze sweeping over the sea of heads until it locked onto the culprit, Zach Hayes. He was standing in the crowd, a smirk of provocative triumph still lingering on his face. But when our eyes met, his smile froze. Into the mic, I enunciated every word. "You all might not know Mr. Zach Hayes, the man who just christened me with Cabernet. He is my wife Jessica's best friend. But he has another title." I paused for effect, watching the color drain from Zach's face. "He's also a debtor who owes me $15,000 and has yet to pay back a cent." Boom! The room exploded. The whispered gossip turned into an uproar. Eyes darted between me and the pale-faced Zach. I felt Jessica's parents stiffen beside me. After the brief chaos, a weird, pin-drop silence fell over the room. I continued, my tone void of emotion. "Jessica begged me for that money, tears streaming down her face, claiming he needed it for a startup emergency. Today, at this wedding that I paid for in full, I didn't get a thank you. I got a suit full of expensive red wine." I finally looked away from Zach and turned to my bride, Jessica. She was ghostly pale, lips trembling, unable to form a word. I looked at her and asked softly, "You told me not to make a scene, not to let people see a joke. Tell me, from the start, who exactly has been making a joke out of me? Is it your best friend who humiliated me publicly, or you, who demanded I swallow my pride to protect him?" I didn't wait for an answer. I knew she didn't have one. Slowly, deliberately, I loosened the wine-soaked tie around my neck. It felt sticky and gross. With a flick of my wrist, I tossed it into the air. It landed at my feet like a dirty rag. "The wedding is off." For words, spoken lightly, but they hit the silent hall like mortar shells. Jessica let out a short scream. Her parents stood open-mouthed. My parents looked stunned. I didn't look at anyone else. I addressed the room one last time. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. All cash gifts will be refunded to you shortly by my groomsmen via Venmo or check. I'm settling the bill for today's reception. Please enjoy the meal. Consider my treat for dinner, but there is no marriage." I placed the microphone gently on the podium. It made a dull thud, the sound of a gavel coming down on my absurd relationship. Amidst the dead silence and the gazes of shock, pity, and schadenfreude, I straightened my back and walked off the stage without looking back. Liam, Riggins, my best man and childhood friend, was the first to react. He sprinted after me, falling into step as we headed for the exit. Behind me, I heard Jessica's breakdown, her parents' angry cursing, and the world turning upside down. But none of it had anything to do with me anymore. Walking out of the hotel, the late summer sun stung my eyes. The noise was cut off by the heavy glass doors, and the world went quiet. I stopped, feeling a momentary daze, as if the farce inside was just a fever dream. Here, a cold bottle of water appeared in front of me. Well, it already unscrewed the cap. I took a long swig, the icy liquid sliding down my throat, putting out some of the fire in my chest. "That son of a bitch," Will muttered, punching the concrete pillar. His knuckles turned red. "Those two are garbage. I wanted to deck that guy right there." I didn't speak, just watched the traffic flow. My phone in my pocket started vibrating like crazy. Screen lighting up, going dark, lighting up again. I knew who it was. Jessica, her parents, that whole ridiculous family. Calls, texts, voice memos, summoning spells, each more urgent than the last. I pulled out my phone, looked at the contacts saved as wifey, and emotionlessly held down the power button. The world finally went silent. Mr. Carter, Mr. Carter. The hotel manager ran out, panting, wearing a mix of professional politeness and awkwardness. Mr. Carter, about the remaining balance. Don't worry, I cut him off. I'm not skipping out on the bill. My friend will handle the settlement with you shortly. You'll get every cent. My calmness threw him off. He nodded quickly. Right. My condolences. You probably wanted to say something else, but settled for that funeral term. I twitched the corner of my mouth, but couldn't smile. Well, and I got in the car and headed back to my bachelor pad, a condo in the city. It was premarital property. Thank God I hadn't been stupid enough to put her name on the deed. Once inside, I peeled off the sticky, wine-smelling custom suit and threw it on the floor like trash. In a mirror, my hair was a mess, my white shirt stained purple. I looked like a wreck, but in my eyes, there was no sadness, no anger. Just dead ice. I went into the study and booted up my computer. Will followed, looking worried. Liam, go shower and rest. I'll handle the rest. No. I shook my head, fingers flying across the keyboard, opening an encrypted folder. Inside was the ledger of everything I'd spent on Jessica, on this relationship I once cherished. I'm a planner. I track every major expense. The down payment transfer for the marital home, $200,000. Renovations and appliances, receipts and scans, $75,000. The contract for the car I bought her, $50,000. The engagement gift transferred to her parents, $30,000. The receipts for the diamond ring and jewelry, $12,000. Even a bank statement paying off her credit card every month. Line by line, clear and shocking. Before today, these cold numbers were proof of my willing love. After today, they were the weapons I would use to reclaim my dignity. Will stared at the dense spreadsheet on the screen, sucked in a breath, and finally whispered, "Holy shit." My phone was off, but I logged into WeChat and iMessage on my desktop. Jessica's messages flooded the screen. Hundreds of unread notifications. I clicked one. The wall of text hit me. Liam Carter, are you insane? Over something that small? Really? You embarrassed us. You humiliated my family in front of everyone. Zach was just drunk. He didn't mean it. You're a grown man. Can't you be the bigger person? Come back right now. Apologize to everyone and finish the wedding. Or we are done. I stared at the gaslighting accusations without expression. I didn't even feel angry anymore. Just absurdity. It was laughable. Calmly, I took screenshots of every chat log, one by one, saving them into the encrypted folder. Liam, stop looking at it. It's toxic, Will said, taking the mouse from my hand. Go sleep. The sky isn't falling. I leaned back in my chair and closed my eyes, but my mind was terrifyingly clear. I can't sleep, I said, opening my eyes to look at the screenshots. My voice was frighteningly steady. I need them to know that whatever they ate, they're going to spit back out. My things. Every single cent. They aren't keeping any of it. The next morning, I turned my phone on. The expected bombardment of notifications froze the device for 30 seconds. I ignored Jessica's hysterical cursing and sobbing voicemails. My eyes landed on a few texts from her parents. The tone was softer than yesterday. No accusations, just a request to meet and talk like a family. I smirked and typed 2 words, time, location. We met at a quiet coffee shop. I arrived early and took a window seat. Soon, Jessica and her parents arrived. Jessica was wearing sunglasses, but I could see the puffiness around her eyes. As soon as she sat down, she took off the glasses, tears falling like broken pearls. Liam, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have let you suffer. She wept beautifully, the exact look that used to melt my heart. But watching her perform now, I felt nothing. Actually, I found it annoying. Her mother immediately started playing the good cop. Liam, look, Jess knows she was wrong. Young couples fight, it happens. That Zach kid is immature. We already scolded him. Don't hold it against him. You two have been together for years. You can't throw it away over a little thing. Look at how much Jess loves you. Forgive her this once. Her father cleared his throat, putting on his elder statesman act, the bad cop. Liam, Jessica was wrong, but so were you. A grown man acting so impulsively at a wedding? Canceling on the spot? Where does that leave our reputation? All our friends are laughing at us. He sipped his coffee and spoke with finality. We've already spoken to Zach's parents. He's going to come and apologize to you. Stop throwing a tantrum. We'll talk this out today, and you two can go down to the courthouse this afternoon and sign a marriage license. We'll put this behind us. Good cop, bad cop. Seamless teamwork. The core message. I was wrong. She was wrong. But I'm the man, so I have to be the bigger person. For the sake of face, I had to swallow this insult. I didn't interrupt. I let them finish their script. When her father finished and looked at me with a, "I've given you an out, take it" expression, I slowly pulled a stack of documents from my briefcase and placed them on the table. I slid them across. Mr. and Mrs. Moore, since you want to talk, let's talk about reality. Her father frowned and picked up the top paper. His face changed instantly. It was a copy of the deed to the condo, the down payment receipt, and the mortgage contract. From start to finish, only one name was on them: Liam Carter. Next was the thick stack of renovation invoices. Every payment record was clear. Then the purchase agreement for the luxury car Jessica drove. Paid in full. Owner, Liam Carter. Read carefully, I said softly. My voice wasn't loud, but it carried enough for the nearby tables to hear. The condo. I paid the $200,000 down payment. I pay the $3,500 mortgage every month. The deed is in my name only. The renovation and furniture. $75,000. My money. Receipts are all here. The car. $50,000. I bought it. It's registered to me. I paused, shifting my gaze to Jessica, who had stopped crying and was staring in shock. And the engagement gift you demanded. $30,000. The diamond ring and jewelry, $12,000. These were conditional gifts based on a marriage taking place. Now, there is no marriage. I watched the color drain from the three of them as I enunciated every word. So, we don't have to get married, but we do have to settle the accounts. The engagement money and the jewelry. I expect a full refund. As for the condo and the car, they are legally mine. I'll have movers pack your personal items and send them to you. Dead silence. Even the coffee shop's background jazz seemed to stop. Jessica stood up so abruptly her chair tipped over, crashing against the floor. She pointed a shaking finger at me, her voice shrill. Liam, what does this mean? You're taking everything back. You want my parents to pay you back. I looked at her face, twisted with rage, and she looked completely like a stranger. I actually laughed. What else? I leaned back, looking at her with pure mockery. Did you think I'd leave it all for you and your best friend to build a love nest? The words were a slap in the face. The negotiation collapsed. Her father was shaking with anger, pointing at my nose. You punk. You're heartless. My daughter gave you her best years, and you're calculating every penny. Her mother tore off the mask of kindness. I knew you were unreliable. Petty. We were blind to let her date you. I watched their ugly tantrum without the slightest urge to argue. There's no point talking to adult toddlers. I stood up, adjusted my jacket, and put the documents back in my bag. I've made myself clear. You have 3 days to return the money and the items. Otherwise, I'll see you in court. The Moore family clearly didn't take me seriously. Not only did they have no intention of returning the engagement money, but Jessica's mother called to scream at me, threatening that if we didn't reconcile, they would move into the condo with all their relatives and squat there. This shamelessness extinguished the last spark of sentiment I held. I stopped communicating with them. I hung up and called a lawyer Will had recommended. Attorney Zhang listened to my story and reviewed the file I prepared. He looked impressed. Mr. Carter, you've handled this perfectly. The evidence is solid. He broke it down. First, you never signed the marriage license. Legally, there is no marriage. Therefore, large gifts given on the condition of marriage, like the engagement fund and ring, must be returned under unjust enrichment laws. Second, the condo and car are in your name. They are separate property. If they try to occupy the home, it's trespassing. We can have them removed by the police. I suggest we send a formal demand letter immediately. Outline the legal reality and apply pressure. Hearing a professional confirm my stance grounded me. I retained him immediately. The day the demand letter arrived, Jessica called me. Her voice wasn't crying or cursing anymore. It was sheer disbelief. Liam, you actually got a lawyer? Are you really going to be this cruel? You were cruel first, I replied calmly. With that emotion, I remembered another debt. Zach's 15 grand. I asked Will to dig around. The result was predictable. The startup Zach bragged about was a shell company with zero capital. He'd blown through the money. The loan I gave him didn't go to business. It went to a PS5, the newest iPhone, and clubbing with girls. He was a fraud and a parasite. I went into my folder, pulled the digital IOU Zach had signed, and the bank transfer records. I zipped the files and sent them to Jessica. I added a note, "Control your boy toy. Tell him to pay up." Moments later, a voice message from Jessica came through. I played it, and her shrieking filled the room. "Liam, are you done yet? You have money. Why are you pressing him for $15,000? Do you have no humanity? Zach is just having a hard time. Can't you give him time? Doing this just makes everyone look down on you." I listened to her self-righteous defense and laughed out loud. Humanity. Look down on me. Without hesitation, I saved her audio file alongside the evidence I'd sent her. This was all going to be admissible in court. Just as I was getting fed up with the drama, my department head called. The news of the wedding disaster had reached the office. I braced myself for a lecture about professional image. Instead, his voice was warm. "Liam, I heard what happened. Don't let it get to you. Anyone would have blown a fuse in that situation. Listen, your job is safe. Take a few days of compassionate leave. Handle your business. The company has your back. If you need anything, ask." The unexpected support loosened the knot in my chest. My eyes stung. "Thanks, boss." Hanging up, I took a deep breath. The toxicity from Jessica's family dissipated slightly. There were still decent people in the world. I opened my banking app and found the authorized user account I'd set up for Jessica. She spent lavishly thousands a month, and I always paid the bill. I looked at the credit limit and, without hesitation, tapped Remove Authorized User and Lock Card. If we were settling accounts, we were starting now. Not another penny of mine. Jessica's karma arrived faster than expected. The next afternoon, I was on the phone with my lawyer when a strange number called. I switched over. Jessica's panic scream pierced my ear. "Liam, did you cancel my card?" I could picture her face. "It's my account. I can close it when I want. Do I need your permission?" "You bastard," she shrieked. "I'm at the register. I'm with friends. The card declined. Do you know how embarrassing that is?" "Oh," I said flatly. "Your dignity is something you earn yourself. It has nothing to do with me." I hung up and blocked the number. Furious, Jessica dragged her parents to the condo. That's when they discovered they couldn't get in. Smart locks are great. I had deleted her fingerprint and code remotely the day before. Her parents called me in shifts. I ignored them all. Finally, they used Jessica's phone to text a stream of abuse. I blocked Jessica's number entirely. Blocked the whole family. Peace at last. Locked out and homeless. This was a massive humiliation for the pampered Jessica. They couldn't sleep in the hallway, so they had to book a hotel. The nightly rate stung them deeply. Desperate, Jessica called her best friend, Zach, for help. Zach's reaction was a bucket of ice water. "What? You changed the locks? I told you Liam was petty. You shouldn't have picked him. Help you? I don't have any money, Jess. My company is struggling. Just stay at the hotel. Liam's just bluffing. He'll cool off in a few days." The dismissal, the refusal to help, hit Jessica hard. For the first time, she felt a chill of disappointment toward the man she had destroyed her marriage to protect. Meanwhile, Will and I went to the empty condo. I had a locksmith change the core to a high-security model. Then I started packing. Her clothes, her bags, her makeup, things I had lovingly bought for her, now just expensive trash. I boxed them up, ready to ship to her parents' house. While clearing out her vanity, I reached into the back of a drawer and felt something hard. An old smartphone. An iPhone 8 she claimed she was going to sell years ago, but never did. I almost tossed it in the donation box, but a gut feeling stopped me. I powered up. It asked for a passcode. I tried Jessica's birthday. Incorrect. My birthday. Incorrect. On a hunch, I typed in Zach's birthday. The phone unlocked. My heart dropped. I opened the Photos app and WeChat. The content hit me like a physical blow. My blood ran cold. It was thousands of messages between Jessica and Zach dating back to college. Explicit flirting. Pet names. Boundaries crossed miles ago. Photos of them cheek to cheek. Photos that looked like they were kissing. But the worst was a chat from when Jessica and I first started dating. "Zach, Jess, this guy has potential. Family has a business. Total meal ticket. Zach, hook him. Make him spend money on you. Once he buys the house and car, dump him. Then we could be together. Jessica, you're terrible, LOL. But he treats me well. Buys me whatever I want. Zach, yeah, but look at who you are. Remember, the goal is financial freedom. Let him be our stepping stone. Stepping stone. Financial freedom. Reading those words, nausea and rage shot from my stomach to my brain. I thought I was giving true love. I thought I was building a life. To them, I was just a wallet, a stepping stone to be used and discarded. I thought the wedding humiliation was rock bottom. I was wrong. There was a basement. I held the phone and started laughing. A harsh, dry laugh that echoed in the empty room. The rage burned, threatening to consume my logic. But I forced myself to cool down. Anger is a clumsy weapon. I wanted them to pay a real price. I didn't smash the phone. I took my own phone and photographed every chat log, every compromising photo. Then I uploaded them to 3 different cloud servers and an external hard drive. This was the nuclear option. Once secure, I used a burner number to text Jessica. Let's talk. Just the 2 of us. My tone was calm, as if nothing had happened. Jessica replied instantly, sensing a victory. Okay, when and where? She probably thought I had cooled off and was ready to crawl back. I chose the restaurant where we had our first date. Cruel irony. Jessica arrived dressed to kill. She wore a white dress I had bought her, makeup perfect, trying to recreate the innocent look from years ago. Liam, I'm glad you came to your senses, she said, touching her hair, her tone dripping with condescending forgiveness. I know you were mad. I don't blame you. Just apologize to my parents, unlock the card in the door, and we can pretend this never happened. She seemingly forgot her family had tried to squat in my house. She thought if she acted high and mighty, I'd wag my tail and come back. I watched her performance in silence. When she finished, I pulled the black iPhone 8 from my pocket and slid it across the table. You forgot this at home. Jessica looked confused. She picked it up. When the screen lit up, showing this stepping stone chat, the color vanished from her face so fast, it looked like she was dying. Her hands shook violently. The phone clattered onto the table. This is, she gasped, voice failing. Then, like a cornered cat, she lunged across the table to grab it. Where did you get that? Give it to me. I leaned back, easily dodging her, and pocketed the phone. I looked at her twisted, terrified face. You call this platonic friendship? I emphasized the words like insults. Jessica panicked. She started babbling. No, Liam, listen. It was a joke. Zach, he made it up. It was his idea. I didn't mean it. Logic failed her. She switched tactics. Tears flowed instantly. Liam, I was wrong. I love you. I was just vain and stupid. Please forgive me. We can start over. I'll never talk to Zach again. She tried to grab my hand. I pulled away in disgust. I watched her cry, feeling absolutely nothing. No anger, no pain, just repulsion. I didn't come here to hear excuses. I came to confirm how fake she really was. Now I knew. It was all a joke. Zach said it. It was him. I didn't mean any of it. Her logic was a mess, trying to dump everything on Zach. When she saw I wasn't buying it, she switched masks again. The tears came instantly. Liam, I was wrong. I was so wrong. I love you. I was just being vain. I'm a stupid woman. Please, forgive me this one time. Let's start over. I'll never speak to Zach again. She tried to reach for my hand. I pulled back like she was contagious. I watched her performance, feeling as calm as a stagnant pond. No anger, no heartbreak, just endless disgust. I didn't come here for an explanation. I came to see just how fake the woman I once loved could be. Now I saw clearly. Facing Jessica's tearful begging, I didn't flinch. I pulled a document prepared by my lawyer out of my briefcase, along with a pen. Stop acting. It makes me sick. My voice wasn't loud, but it cut her crying off like a switch. She stared at the paper. Here are my terms, I said, leaving no room for negotiation. 1. You return the $30,000 engagement gift and the ring and jewelry, valued at $12,000. 2. You sign this property separation agreement. You forfeit any claim to assets during our cohabitation. You acknowledge the condo, the car, and all assets are my sole, separate property. Jessica read the clauses, trembling, biting her lip until it bled. Liam, do you have to be this cruel? I laughed coldly. Compared to your stepping stone plan, this is mercy. I leaned in, lowering my voice to a whisper. Sign it, and those chat logs and photos stay on my hard drive. Don't sign it, and I'll send a copy to your parents, your relatives, your friends, and every future meal ticket you try to date. They can all see just how pure your friendship with Zach is. That was the straw that broke her. Reputation was the only thing a narcissist like her cared about. She stared at me, the love gone from her eyes, replaced by pure venom and fear. Finally, she slumped in her chair, defeated. I'll sign. The next day, Jessica and her parents came to the law firm. Her mother looked like she wanted to kill someone as she slammed a bag containing cash and the jewelry box onto the table. Count it. Before signing, her mother tried one last haggle. Lawyer, isn't this unfair? My daughter gave him her youth. Shouldn't there be compensation? My lawyer, Mr. Zhang, adjusted his glasses. Ma'am, youth compensation isn't a legal concept. Furthermore, my client possesses evidence that, if public, would severely damage your daughter's reputation. I suggest you sign and walk away. I shot Jessica a cold look. She shuddered and grabbed her mother's arm. Mom, stop. Just sign. Faced with the evidence, they had no leverage. Jessica signed her name and pressed her thumbprint. With the money back and the agreement signed, the financial war was over. I texted Jessica a photo of the moving boxes and the keys sitting in the condo lobby. Your stuff is downstairs. Call a mover. We are done. I felt exhausted, like I'd fought a long war. But I had won. That night, Will took me out for drinks. He raised his glass. To Liam, escaping hell and starting over. Cheers. I downed the whiskey. It burned, but it felt like freedom. On the other side of town, Jessica went back to the hotel and unleashed her fury on Zach. She screamed at him over the phone, calling him useless, a jinx. Zach tried to soothe her until she mentioned the money was returned and the house was gone. Then he turned. You lost everything? I told you to secure the assets first. You can't even handle one man, and you blame me? Don't put your vanity on me. The two best friends turned on each other the moment the money ran out. Their friendship cracked instantly under the weight of reality. I thought it was over, but I underestimated Zach's shamelessness. Cut off from my money and blasted by Jessica, he decided to get revenge. He went to our mutual friends' group chats and social media, spinning a narrative where he was the victim. He painted himself as the loyal friend defending Jessica, and me as the petty, jealous ex who canceled a wedding over a joke. Can't believe Liam is that kind of guy. Brothers for years, and he ruins a wedding over a prank. Poor Jess, kicked out of her house. He literally threw her stuff on the street. A few ignorant mutual friends chimed in. Yeah, seems petty for a grown man. Dodge a bullet there, Jess. Will saw the posts and almost threw his phone. I'm going to destroy him in the comments. Wait, I said, stopping him. My eyes were cold. Let him jump. The higher he jumps, the harder he falls. Arguing with trash makes you trash. You destroy them with facts. I did 3 things calmly. First, I paid the wedding videographer extra for the raw footage. I got a 4K, multi-angle clip of Zach arrogantly dumping the wine on my head. Second, I saved the high-res image of Zach's IOU. Third, I took a long screenshot of Jessica's begging text asking for the loan for Zach. I opened the main group chat, where Zach was performing his victim act. I didn't post the video yet. That was for later. I just dropped the photo of the IOU and the screenshot of Jessica begging for money. Then I tag him. Add Zach Hayes before you talk shit. Maybe tell everyone when you plan to pay back the $15,000 you stole from me. The message hit the group like a bunker buster. The people defending him went silent. The chat froze for a full minute. Then the tide turned. Whoa, Zach owes Liam 15 grand. That note is almost a year old. Wait, so Liam lent him money. He didn't pay it back. And then he trashed Liam's wedding? Is this guy for real? I thought Liam was being harsh, but honestly, I would have punched him. The flood of public opinion drowned Zach. The friends who defended him deleted their comments or left the group in embarrassment. Zach was stunned. He never dreamed I would air his dirty laundry in public. Zach tried to argue in the chat, saying it was a private matter. But pay your debts is a universal rule. His defense was weak. Humiliated, he rage quit the group and started demanding me abusive threats. I didn't reply. I just screenshotted every threat. Then I dropped those screenshots into another group chat, one he wasn't in, and announced, regarding Mr. Hayes' debt and these threats, I have instructed my lawyer to file suit. Zach panicked. He was a paper tiger. He could talk trash online, but the moment he heard lawsuit, he folded. He was broke. His only hope was Jessica. He bombarded her with calls, threatening to leak their history if she didn't bail him out. But he forgot that I held the ultimate leverage over Jessica. She was terrified of me. She coldly rejected him. That's your problem. Fix it yourself. The best friends were now enemies. I didn't actually file the lawsuit yet. Courts are slow. I wanted social pressure. The story of the deadbeat best friend who ruined a wedding spread through her social circle like wildfire. Eventually, it reached Zach's parents. His parents were blue-collar, honest people who valued their reputation. When they heard what their son had done, they nearly had heart attacks. They stormed his apartment. Neighbors reported screaming and crying. Under the threat of being disowned, Zach had no choice. He sold his gaming PC, his gear, and borrowed from every sketchy friend he had to scrape together the $15,000. A few days later, he asked to meet. He looked 10 years older. The arrogance was gone, replaced by a slump-shouldered defeat. He handed me a thick envelope. Here, your money. I took the envelope, opened it, and counted the cash right in front of him. Slowly, once confirmed, I pulled the printed copy of the IOU from my pocket. Zach's eyes lit up, thinking this was over. I smiled. Then, right in front of his face, I tore the IOU into tiny pieces. I let the confetti rain down on his head. It was the ultimate insult. You care about this paper? Now the money is gone, The paper is gone, and you are nothing. I walked away without saying a word. Silence is the loudest contempt. Contempt. With Zach handled, I turned to the final loose end, Jessica. For her, I chose psychological warfare. I didn't release the incriminating photos. Instead, I let her know that I had them, that I kept them. I let her live with the knowledge that a nuclear bomb was sitting in my pocket, ready to go off if she ever crossed me again. The anxiety would eat her alive. With the drama behind me, I threw myself into work. I practically lived at the office for a month, driving a massive project to completion. Channeling my rage into productivity worked. The project was a massive hit. At the celebration dinner, the CEO called me out by name, promoted me to project director, and doubled my salary. Standing on that stage, hearing the applause, I fell whole again. Meanwhile, Jessica's life imploded. Without my financial support, her lifestyle crashed. No more designer bed, no more brunch. She tried to find a new meal ticket, but her reputation was radioactive. The wedding disaster was local legend. No successful man would touch her. She heard about my promotion. Jealousy and regret gnawed at her. Finally, she broke. She texted me from a new number. A long, pathetic essay about how much she missed me. Cut off Zach. How we were soulmates. I read the wall of text and laughed. I didn't even read to the end. I used my burner number to reply with 4 words. I don't know you. Then I blocked her. Weeks later, at a major industry gala, I was a keynote speaker. I wore a bespoke suit, confident and in control. I finished my speech to thunderous applause and took my seat in the front row. That's when I saw her. Jessica. She had snuck in somehow, dressed up, scanning the room for rich men like a radar. During the mixer, she saw me. She grabbed a glass of champagne and strutted over, putting on her best smile, trying to create a scene where we were still close. I saw her coming. I didn't stop. I turned to the CEO beside me, clinked glasses, and laughed at a joke. I physically brushed past her without breaking stride. I didn't even give her eye contact. She froze, hand extended, champagne glass wobbling. She stood alone in the crowd, looking like a clown. The whispers started. Then, the final blow. Sarah Vance, a brilliant marketing exec from my company, walked up to me. She handed me a fresh drink. Liam, that speech was incredible. I took the glass, smiling genuinely. Thanks, Sarah. Great job organizing this. The chemistry between us was obvious. Easy, respectful. Jessica watched us, her eyes filled with pure poison and envy. She finally understood. She hadn't just lost a wallet. She had lost a partner who could have elevated her whole life. And she did it to herself. Crushed, she turned and fled the ballroom. On the ride home, Will grinned at me in the rearview mirror. So, Sarah? I saw sparks, man. I smiled, looking at the city lights. We'll see. I wasn't afraid of love anymore. Months later, I posted a photo on Instagram. Me and Sarah, watching the sunrise on a beach. Caption, New Beginnings. The comments were full of love. Will posted, finally, drinks on me. I heard later that Jessica lost her job and moved back to her dusty hometown. No one would date her. Zach disappeared from the city, buried in debt. Rumor had it the two of them ended up together again, miserable, broke, screaming at each other in a cheap rental apartment. I didn't care. They were just mud I had scraped off my shoe. That night, I found the old iPhone 8 in my drawer. I wiped the data completely. Walking to the dumpster, I tossed it in with the rest of the trash. Thud. The next morning was bright. I drove my car, Sarah laughing in the passenger seat as we planned a trip to the mountains. The road ahead was wide open.